sitting on the couch. We never do this.
Just to be different.
Yeah, just for these few minutes. Not like we're sitting here watching TV. There is a TV up there.
There is. I think I turned it on once in the 3 years I've been coming here.
You figured out how to use the remote?
It was touch and go there for a while.
Wow, I am impressed. Because there's 4 remotes in that bin over there. How do you know which one it is?
I think I played until I figured it out. It probably never worked the same since.
No, offline.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so it is Fancy Foil and Molding Paste, take 35, action.
Molding paste and foils are not necessarily the first combination that you would consider using, but she makes it work. And she's done it in a way that not just makes it work, it takes advantage of the patterns on the foil, the holographic nature of this particular foil, and again, Elizabeth has done it in a way that even if you don't get perfect coverage, it doesn't matter.
Yes, so I actually embrace the imperfect coverage.
Yes.
So here is the glorious piece that we created. It's like shiny and colorful and fun, and I just want to mention that I did this with teal because I love that color, but you could certainly do a different color combination. You could put a different paint color underneath, a different molding paste color, and a different foil on the top. Combinations are endless.
Well, yeah, and in the Gina K foil line, this happens to be the one that Elizabeth used. It's glimmering gold. There's silver versions, there's colored versions, there's versions with holographic effects. And then in the Deco Foil line, which is who makes the Gina K stuff, there's a whole plethora of other kinds of things. There are foils that are ombres and that change color. They have watercolor-like effects, so that the options are pretty endless. And then you can match the foil to the paint color that you tint the texture paste with, or you can do contrast. I mean, it really is wide open.
Yeah, the combinations are endless, so you'll never be bored. And there's something for everybody's taste, which is pretty cool.
Then the other thing is there's an endless assortment of options in the stencil line from Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, for the texture, right?
Yeah.
So we use this one, this fan stencil, but you could sure do all kinds of different texture.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm using this in the background of my Funky Florals, but I'm also working on a new series of paintings of Italian Renaissance icons. So, you know, with the big halo behind the head. Oh. And so I want to use this to add texture and color and pattern and all that in the halo. So instead of just doing flat gold, I want to do stuff like this.
Coming to a painting soon.
Coming to your social media soon.
That's right.
All right.
Want to go do it?
Let's show them how to do it.
All right.
So today we are playing with different ways to use everybody's favorite glittery, shiny Deco foil. And what's not to like about Gina K Fancy Foils? Can I just tell you, this is my all-time favorite. If you want to know, this is my all-time favorite. This is glimmering gold. And not only is it glimmering, but it has little stars in it. And what could be better than that? Right? So I love this. Barb sends me this and I'm giddy.
Well, it's shiny. What is not to like?
What is not to like? And there are a lot of Deco foils, a lot to choose from. So this may not be your jam, but there are other ones that are with striations or ombre, multiple rainbow colors and watercolor effects and all kinds of things like that. So why I like Deco foil is for those patterns and textures that the Mona Lisa Simple Leaf does not have. I like them both for different applications, but this with the inclusions is what I love about Deco foil.
Well, and you know what's cool too? I can see it because of the light coming in. It's holographic. And
yes.
I can see the color changes.
Yes, it's holographic. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a rainbow kind of to it, plus the stars and the shine. So it's got a lot going for it. So what I wanted to do today is, instead of applying it just flat, I wanted to apply it with some texture. So the idea that I had was to put it over molding paste. So unlike when we use Tacky When Dry Gel Medium and apply the adhesive through the stencil and then we just have the pattern of this with the adhesive, what I want to do is create a complete textured background and then put the foil over that texture. So you're not only seeing the holographic and the stars, but you're also going to see a raised pattern in that application. And I would do this in the background of my mixed media. This is not something that I would do on collage paper, but it is definitely something that I would do in my Funky Florals, where I take a section of the background and use metallic leaf. So the first thing that I did, this is our fans stencil. This is one of my favorites, and it's going to work really well for this technique. It's from Patterns for Layering.
It is a Patterns for Layering, but I don't remember if it's release 1, 2, or 3. I think it might be release 2. I could be wrong. Okay.
Well, you'll find it if you look on joggles.com and you search fans. Okay. So what I did was I just gel printed. This is a piece of cardstock, and I just gel printed some teal on there, and I ended up picking up some grunge that was left over on the plate. The next thing we're going to do is apply the molding paste, but rather than just leave it white, this is an opaque matte molding paste. So rather than just leave it white, in the event that the Deco Foil doesn't adhere perfectly, and it typically does not, and that is actually some of the beauty of it, is the irregularity of it, I'm going to put a color in this molding paste, and I'm going to put it on this colored background. Then if we have any open spaces where the foil does not adhere, we're going to have a beautiful color palette. We're going to have teal and Prussian phthalo blue. So if this doesn't adhere, we're going to get teal showing through, and that's going to be beautiful, or the dark Prussian phthalo blue showing through. So we're going to have something underneath that if it peeks through, it's great. If it doesn't, it's fine. Okay, so the texture paste is by Ranger, and it is opaque in the jar, but it does not affect the color of paint that you mix in with it. Now, you might ask me, why can't I just lay it down and then paint it afterward? And the answer is that you could do that. But maybe perhaps getting the paintbrush into the ridges of all of these shapes may not be a perfect application. You may end up still with some white areas. So however you want to do it, but I like to do it this way. So I'm going to mix the paint right in with the molding paste, and I'm going to tint the molding paste to be Prussian phthalo blue. Then all I have to do is spread it through the stencil, and it's all 100% colored. So this, even though it looks white and opaque in the jar, when you mix the paint with it, it's not going to change the color. It may look a little lighter on the desk, but it's going to dry darker, and it's going to be just the same color as what it came out of the tube. It's kind of cool that way. So I'm using the palette knife to mix it up. We're working on our non-stick craft mat table surface. So this is, if I just mix it right on the desk. If you don't have this table surface, you can mix it on a paper plate or a piece of palette paper. Okay, so now I'm going to put the stencil over the cardstock, and I'm just going to spread this through like frosting a cake. Cake. I'm a terrible cake decorator.
But I bet it tastes really good.
It does. I'm very good at baking, but for whatever reason, I'm not any good at cake decorating. There were many, many times when I ran out of frosting barb and the back of the cake was bare, and we had to turn it for the pictures.
The pretty side out.
Yeah, for the birthday pictures. Don't show the back. Okay, so we're just spreading it through there like frosting or like butter. And you can lay it on real thick, or you can scrape it down kind of thinner, however you want to do it. I like a little bit of both. And, you know, you're not a machine, so it's kind of impossible to get it perfectly even and consistent. But that is why I like to use the palette knife, because it's going to spread it pretty evenly and with a smooth surface. Okay? So we have that done. And then we're just going to lift the stencil, and then you have that really nice phthalo, Prussian blue phthalo raised pattern from the molding paste over the teal background. So like I said, if any of that shows through, we've got some really nice colors. So now I'm going to just clean this up.
And this is the beauty of the craft sheet. It makes this so much easier and quicker.
Yeah, I really like it. And also we especially like using it for the videos because it's a nice neutral kind of clean background that's not distracting, which is also good for making art. So, okay, so this is a sheet that I made yesterday and applied the adhesive to, because this molding paste is going to take several minutes to dry, and then the Deco Foil adhesive is going to take several minutes to dry. So this comes in a squeeze cap, which is pretty cool because you can squeeze it out in swirls and curls and stripes and dots and marks. You can make all your own patterns with it and then apply the fancy foil to that. But today we're putting it over the whole surface. So what I like to do is I opened it up and I just used my paintbrush. I dumped a little bit out and I brushed it out with my paintbrush. It's a bit of a thick application. You can see that it's pretty thick. So it coats the raised molding paste surface really well. It's not so liquidy that it's just going to go down into the low areas and not adhere to the high areas. So I do like the consistency of this for that reason.
Note, excuse me 1 second. Note to self, we put that stencil to one side, but the minute we get through, we're going to stick it in the sink and wash it, and the same thing with that brush.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want to monkey around with these things.
You don't want to let these things dry on your materials. So, okay, so I've got that already prepared. It's got a little bit more dark in it than one we just did because we had ghost print in there. But they're pretty similar. We just have some dark areas in here because of the ghost print. So now with the fancy foil, you're going to get, you saw that when I showed you this, it's pretty white. When it dries, it goes clear. So that's your first indication that it's dry, is that it's clear. And then your second indication is to touch it, and it should be tacky to the touch and not wet, but tacky. And I think this is pretty good, Barb.
All right. The one thing I don't see is the Baron. I don't know where the Baron is.
That's a good question. We just had it.
Yes, we did, but that doesn't mean we know where it is at the moment.
Here it is.
You know, it's hiding behind the paper towel roll.
The 4-inch Speedball Red Baron is helpful in applying pressure to get this to go. I hope this is sticky enough.
Try it in a corner. Let's see what happens. And if not, we'll just pause for a couple minutes and let it do its thing.
See how smart she is.
Well, you and I have been doing this a while, and I'm not pressured because I'm the one standing here holding the camera, so it's making it easy for me.
Right? So yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is that the glue has dried enough to be tacky enough to take this off. So we'll just do a test print like you do a test patch when you color your hair. Who does that? Not me.
Never me.
No, I just jump in with both feet. I figure it'll grow back. All right.
And that's what scissors are for.
Oh, yes, look at that. Oh.
Look at that.
Now, I applied the adhesive over the whole thing, but it is catching mostly on the top area. But if I get my fingertips in there, you do see it's down in the base a little bit. But that's why we have the beautiful colors underneath. So we can, anything that shows through is going to be that nice color. So here's what I'm going to do. It's obvious that the adhesive is good, right? So, and then the question is going to be, how long does it take the adhesive to dry to be good? Well, that's going to depend on your climate and your environmental conditions. So really, you just have to touch it with your finger and see that it's tacky, and it also should be clear and not opaque. So I'm going to try, I've got the majority of it on the high points with the Baron, and then I think you just need to use your fingers to try to get more down in those low areas. But I love that teal showing through.
Oh, yeah.
So this would be a beautiful background segment in Funky Florals or in mixed media, just to have like the textured metallic effect. So we can always pick this up and check.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Yeah, and the nice thing is the pattern of the stars is small enough and the fan shapes are large enough that you don't lose the little stars on there. When you take this off, and I can get in closer, you can hold it to the other camera, you'll be able to see not just the stars, but the holographic effect.
Yes, the pattern is small, so it's not like you can't see it because it's a nice little tiny star pattern. It's glittery.
And we love glitter.
Ooh. Don't you love that?
Yeah, and I can see, through this camera angle, I can see the stars and I can see the holographic effect.
So
That's cool.
It's not getting in all the low areas, even though the adhesive is there. And I think it's just because, you know, you have to get that pressure down in between. So you could spend a long time, you know, with your thumb trying to get it all in there. But the point of this lesson is putting the paint under there so that you get both working together, right? You get the color of the paint, the texture of the molding paste, and the shine of the foil all working together.
You know what you don't have around us?
What?
The gloss medium.
Oh, yes. Well,
We'll grab that in a second. I think it's in your bag.
so yeah, when I use this, a lot of the time I put a gloss medium on the top, because if we still have sticky area down there in the low, we don't want it to be sticky. So I just put gloss medium over it, and that seals up any remaining stickiness from the adhesive. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that. You can, oh my goodness, look at with the dark showing through.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay, so isn't that beautiful?
Yes, and the colors are, I'd be the first to admit, I'm generally not a gold person, and I know you are, and I see you do gold things that I go to myself, okay, I could do that, I could like that.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. So there is a decent amount of it in the low areas, but we are also seeing a decent amount of the teal. So it feels it's a little tacky in those low areas. So I'm going to grab the gel medium.
And even if you don't do it, we can just talk about it.
Well, I'm using the Liquitex gloss. You don't want to put matte medium over this shiny foil because it'll dull it down. So it has to be gloss. But the reason why I'm going to do this is basically if you have any parts of that Deco Foil glue that are still sticky and you don't want your artwork to be sticky, we're just going to seal it up with a little bit of this gloss gel medium and a brush. And that's going to just coat any remaining adhesive and seal it up. Okay.
So pretty.
So that's all you have to do for that. And it's still shiny and it's still amazing. Look at that. I love this.
Yeah, there's nothing not to like about that.
Right. So that's it.
That's it for this one.
That's it for this one. That was a lot of fun. This was particularly fun.
It's shiny. What's not to like?
Right, I know. There's some things that we do that I like, and there's some things that we do that on the reveal, my heart just leaps.
It goes, ooh.
And this was one of those. So
Yeah, it was.
I'm happy.
So fun. Shiny foils. There's nothing not to like.
Exactly. So we'll see you back here next week.
Bye.